Successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. There are going to be so many times in your life where you have an easy choice to make and be passive, or where you have a hard decision to make and you have to do something. And it can be really uncomfortable, but always remember that successful people do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. In life, where there's pain, it usually means there's a long-term gain. And where there's pleasure, it usually means that it's a long-term loss, because you don't want to seek instant gratification in this life, okay? People, especially in their 20s and in their teens, you have everything at your fingertips on your phone, okay? I'm sorry to break it to you, but you are so hardwired for instant gratification that it's a joke, okay? Your attention span is so low. All the mindless scrolling that goes on, everything's really quick. Don't get me wrong, it's also an asset for things to operate really quickly, because you want to be a fast, quick, efficient operator as you become successful. But in the beginning, you need to find the value of delayed gratification. You need to find value in putting in hard work and earning the result, okay? And a lot of times in life, you're going to be faced with tough conversations. You're going to be faced with things that are uncomfortable, that make you feel like you don't want to be involved. It's going to make you want to put your head under the sand and just clock out. But you need to remember, everything happens either for a reason, just a temporary season, or it's a really important lesson. Nothing in life that you're going to face is actually that bad. Okay, most things in life that seem like the end of the world, those situations tend to not matter in 5 years' time, okay? It, like, maybe 1 in 100 of those circumstances will matter in 5 years' time. And the thing is, even if it does matter in 5 years, it'll matter because you learned something from it, or because you didn't learn something from it. As you grow up, you're gonna evolve out of people in your life. That's expected, okay? You need to expect that whenever you're going for success. You need to expect that. If you're, actually, you don't even need to expect it. You need to be ready for it, okay? Self-improvement and developing yourself as a professional is gonna demand you to leave certain people behind, because you're not gonna be operating on the same frequency as them anymore. You're not gonna be in vibrational harmony, because the things that matter to you and the things that matter to them are gonna clash, and that's actually okay. Like, that is actually okay. It is okay to let people go out of your life. Dare I say, it's an absolutely necessary process. And it can seem really hard because it feels like the stakes are really high, depending on who you're dealing with. If you're dealing with a very reactive person, then this is gonna be a really tough thing for you, and you're gonna wanna listen to this entire video. If you're a very responsive person, you're very chilled out, then you will also understand that, yeah, sometimes it can be tough, but it's gotta be done, and it's worth it when you do. See, in life, when you have to have a hard conversation with somebody, and you have to let them go, and you have to let them out of your life, that's not the end of the world, guys, okay? You're gonna discover who your true friends are in those moments. See, if you're ever put in a scenario where you have to call in the human virtues of honesty and integrity, you're doing the right thing, okay? Every single time. If you have to call on your integrity to question, do I need to have a conversation about this with this person? Good for you. Honestly, you're locked in, you are aligned with yourself, because people who don't question things tend to not be paying attention to themselves or to the world around them, okay? So the fact that you have a question, you're like, this is gonna be tough, good for you. Take that as, honestly, a signpost and a flag post that you've hit the first step of an incredible process for yourself. When you have to have a hard conversation, I want you to remember this. Always be honest. Always be honest. Someone who is honest with themselves and with others doesn't have to remember stuff. It's crazy the amount of mental clutter that holds you back every single day. The same way that you need to clean your house, you need to clean your apartment, you need to clean your mind out too. That's so important. A liar has so much mental clutter because they have to remember different stories that they've told different people chaos. You cannot navigate your life as a dishonest person and expect to be successful ever, because you're going to have real things that are really demanding, that, you know, require a high level of initiative and intuition. And if you have mental clutter, you're not going to have enough space to notice the opportunities around you. You won't, I swear. So be honest. Honest people have less things that they need to remember. And number 2, integrity. Integrity is my ultimate, most important core value. Integrity to me, that means being honest even when nobody's watching. If there's nobody there telling you not to eat the donut and you're like, oh, I could eat this donut and get away with it, that's a weak mind. If you have integrity with yourself, then you know you're on a diet. You know that you're sticking to that diet because of how it's going to make you feel. And you know that that outcome from how you feel is going to provide you with a far better lifestyle where you trust yourself, you notice yourself being consistent, you have the strength of discipline behind you, and you're able to attack anything that comes your way. If you are not being honest with yourself when nobody else is watching, I promise you are crippling your confidence. You are crippling your inner confidence, and that's going to show up in public, and other people are going to feel it off you. You know a confident person when they walk into the room, and it's not because of what they say, it's not because of what they do, it's not even necessarily always because of their body language. Someone could just walk through the door and you intuitively know that's a confident person. It's because they know that they're confident within themselves. It's a part of their energetic makeup, okay? Girls put on makeup all the time so that they look a certain way. You have an energetic makeup, and every single day you're putting it on, no matter who's there. You cannot ever think that what goes on in private will not show up in public, because it will, okay? Be honest and have integrity. You will become more and more and more and more successful, because I tell you this, the more successful that you get in life, the more money that you earn, the more connections that you make, the more assets that you acquire, everything in your life actually boils down to being connected to your humanity. And that involves being connected with other people, okay? A life without collaboration, that's crazy. If anybody thinks that they're going to make it on their own and they're going to be on their own forever, and entrepreneurship is a really lonely journey, and it's lonely at the top, and eagles soar where there's less oxygen, and that's why they're always by them. Shut up. Stop right now. I promise you, people at the highest level want to work with other people at their level who they share the same values of. And you know what's going to be the number one determining factor for that? Your integrity. That is how you will know if you're aligned with somebody, because when you wear your heart on your sleeve and you are who you say you are, people can feel that. It's called authenticity. People who demonstrate a high level of integrity are authentic people. Okay? You want to be an authentic person. Nobody else can be you. You're so unique. Develop authenticity through practicing integrity. Do that every day, okay? So you have to have a hard conversation with people in life. Some people need to be let go of. Other people you probably don't want to let go of, but you're not aligned anymore. Like, it could be an ex-boyfriend, an ex-girlfriend. These things do happen. Relationships do break down, because you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You might think that you're on an aligned path with somebody, but do you know what? People have their own free will. People have their own choices to make. And some people want to change course. And that's fine. And you need to be okay with that separation process, okay? You need to be okay with having hard conversations, especially if they are high risk. I want you to know that no matter how high risk and intimidating and difficult certain conversations with certain people may feel, it's either going to pass and your integrity is going to have shined through. You're going to have gone through like this breakdown, this rut with this person, and you're going to have come together again stronger than ever, because you've been able to have conflict resolution. Conflict resolution is such an important experience with people. I don't think that you truly know someone until you've had to overcome conflict resolution with them. Like, I remember actually I started speaking to a guy once, and I asked him, what's your conflict resolution strategy? Crazy question to ask somebody. But I was like, what do you do when you're in an argument with somebody? Like, what's your modus operandi? Like, I want to know. You will learn so much about people's characters in the middle of a conflict. It's actually a really exciting opportunity. It gets you to the root of that person far faster than bullshit happy landing all the time. You could go around and just do day-to-day shit with people. You will never see what's under the facade of their character until something is called into question that gives them the opportunity to either react or respond. And you always want to remember as well, if you are a reactive person, that means you lack self-control. Think about it. If somebody comes into this room right now, I'm sitting in my mentor's house, Kim, and if somebody walked into Kim's house right now, be it a colleague, be it a client, and they just started slandering me, I would have every right to be like, what the hell are you doing? And react and be like, how did you get into this house? Get out. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many moments in life where it feels natural to react and go straight in on the offensive. But it's the person who responds that actually holds the power. You are going to be in a powerful position in your life when you learn how to respond. If you feel yourself about to launch out in anger at someone, if you're about to lash out like that, instantly notice it and just stop dead right there. Do not go in with a reaction. Separate yourself from the scenario if you can. Now, obviously, there's going to be life and death scenarios in your life where you have to react. You know, if somebody goes to shoot a gun to your head, you're going to have to know how to disarm them. Like, don't be ridiculous. I'm talking about in normal, everyday social settings with people in business and people in your personal life. You do not want to be that person that starts to react at everything that goes on. Say you're even out for dinner and something happens at another table. You don't want to be the person who jumps up and like gets involved. Sit back, be an observer, okay? Observe yourself. I feel like people talk about being an observer quite a lot, but what are you meant to observe? Yes, you can observe the other people. Yes, you can read their character. Yes, you can read their energy. But what's most important is that you read yourself in those moments. The better you get to know yourself, the further you will go in life. That's why self-improvement and self-development is so important, because it's building your own self-awareness. Notice the moments where you go to react. Notice the type of scenarios that you're reactive to and work on that. Slow yourself down and respond. You want to think, okay? Take time to think. You would be so surprised how often in life people just do not take time to think. A lot of relationships break down because of that reactive nature. Now, I know for a fact that there'll be people here who are thinking, but if so-and-so made me angry, you know, that was a righteous anger. I definitely, as a teenager, used to be that person. I would be so on my own moral high horse that if I saw something that was below par, that wasn't demonstrating any human virtues, I would be the first person to be like, no. And I'd go in with a whole performance, being super assertive, dominating the conversation in a reactive state in the name of righteous anger. There's no such thing as righteous anger. Someone could stab your sister, stab your brother, and you might feel all the righteous anger in the world to go get that guy. No. See, the more self-aware you become, and this isn't the, like, be passive, no way. You will respond, you just won't react, okay? You need to be composed. Don't make rash decisions based off spontaneous emotions. You need to let the dust settle before you know what to do. Same when it comes to these hard conversations that I'm talking about. Don't react to those people, okay? Because you're gonna let yourself down. I promise. You are going to let yourself down. Because it's then you're gonna go back to bed later that night and you're gonna replay the conversation in your mind and you're gonna think of all the better things that you could have said. In the name of righteous anger. You're going to think of all the better things that you could have said. You're going to stress your point even further. And you're going to be raging at yourself that that's not how you carried the conversation in the moment because you were so riled up. So let's avoid that entire fiasco. And when something happens, step back. Observe yourself. Notice how you feel about it. Start thinking. Position review with yourself. Where am I at right now? Is what this person is saying valid? Is this conversation serving me in the pursuit of my goal? Is this true? Is what's going on true? Like, what is your perception on the events that are occurring? And really just get yourself together. I'm an emotional person, but I'm also a very reasonable person. And this is why it's one of the most important lessons that I've ever learned when it comes to navigating social scenarios. You're never gonna lose the people that really know you and value you for who you are. One of my favorite quotes, there's a book that I study, and this comes back to the integrity point. There's a quote in the book, and it says, "In the integrity of my own soul, I fear no opposition to it." I think it was Ernest Holmes that wrote that. That is so beautiful. In the integrity of my own soul, I fear no opposition to it. Like, you're gonna meet opposing forces that come up and challenge you all the time. And there are gonna be things that are so close to your heart and so close to your soul and your purpose and your mission. Opposing forces are gonna come towards you because you need hurdles in order to grow. Otherwise, you're on a flat line. You need steps to jump up, okay? You have to have something that requires a stretch. That is how you grow. But when you're integral to your soul, you don't have to fear any opposition to it, because what is meant to be will remain. Okay? What is meant to be in your life, the people who are meant to be in your life, the people who are of value to your life, the people who value who you are in your life, they are there to stay. Because your conflict resolution strategy with those people turns into a lot of communication. And it's always going to be neutral, guys. If it doesn't bring you peace, it's not for you. And I'm not saying that if everything's not zen and blah, 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 that you need to cut these people. No. You're going to go through tough times with important people. But I want you to observe who you feel truly at peace around and who you don't. Whose narrative and whose conversations make you feel certain ways. And really, honestly, when you sit one-on-one with another individual, what is the core feeling that person gives you? That is going to tell you a lot about the kind of connection that you have with them. And it's going to tell you a lot about yourself, because you cannot recognize in other people things that you have not at one point or currently possess. If I start speaking French to you and you only speak English, you're not going to have a clue what I'm saying. But if you do speak French and I start speaking French to you, you will know what I'm saying. So when someone presents you with envy, jealousy, anger, lies, deceit, confusion, chaos, when people present those things to you and you're able to recognize it, that is because you yourself have carried and displayed those traits at some point yourself, okay? That is why you need to treat people with mercy. That's why you don't react to others, okay? I remember the first time I heard the term gaslighting, and I was like, what the hell is that? I wouldn't know gaslighting if it slapped me in the face. Because lying to other people, like that manipulative skill, was never a part of my repertoire. It wasn't within my capabilities, so I didn't recognize it when I was faced with it until I was talking to other people and telling them a story, and they were like, chick, he is gaslighting you. And I was like, okay. So see, when you see toxic traits in other people, do not curse and damn them, because you recognize them, which means you at some point have displayed the same trait. Okay? And someone in your life has forgiven you for where you've made mistakes, so you need to learn to forgive others. That's why responding and being neutral is so important when it comes to conflict. Please remember that. Don't fuck people over, okay? Don't go out of your way to fuck someone's day up. Don't go out of your way to fuck someone's life up. Like, I recently had a really tough, really hard conversation that I needed to have. And I was scared because I didn't want to compromise a friendship with another person or compromise a friendship and a business relationship with another person. You need to get your priorities straight, okay? You need to pull back, seeing things like that are really heavy and they feel like they're beyond your control. You need to level yourself in a really big way. And the key to freedom is honesty. I'm telling you, when you're integral to your soul, think, what are the core values that make me who I am? And then ask yourself, right, what is the highest version of me? Like for me, I always imagine the man that I'll marry, and I go, right, well, if I was speaking to my husband and telling him this story, how would I want to end the story? You know, what would I be proud to tell him about? What way would I be proud to carry myself? Because you need to remember that even though there are certain people that aren't in your life yet, there are going to be people that you have a responsibility to care for. Like, I think about whenever I'll raise my children in the future when I have a family, I'm like, whoa, what kind of person do I want to be today? There's going to be a day when my kids are 26. What do I want to tell them that I did? In my experience, what did I learn was the wisest route? You know, just because people can't see you doesn't mean that you're by yourself or that this is never going to matter. How you feel really does matter. And it's going to matter to other people at some point too, provided that you do the right thing. And the right thing sometimes isn't clear. Sometimes you don't know what path is the right path. I know for me, in that conflict between a friend and another friend, I was like, I don't know what the right thing to do is, right? So you want to think of a couple of things. You want to do what's right first and foremost, always in life, by you. You need to do what's right by you, because you're the one that you're going to sleep with at the end of the night. You're the one that you're going to live your life with, and you're the one that's going to die and go into your grave, okay? You need to be proud of who you are, and you need to think of what aligns with you in every moment, and you need to carry that state into your actions, and then they'll represent themselves in your results. Your emotions are so important. And I know a lot of people think that you need to disregard emotion when it comes to business. You need to disregard emotion when it comes to success. Unpopular opinion, but I'm here to tell you that actually your emotions are the key to success. The more emotional you can be, and the more you are able to harness your emotions, you will be the most successful person. The person with the most power to harness their emotions is the most successful person. You want to know what scares you, but you want to go and break new ground and face it and confront it. And this is relevant for whenever you're dealing with conflict resolution with multiple people. You have to face it, okay? I said in another video, to be indifferent is an apathetic retreat from life. Don't avoid things. If you're going to be avoidant, you're being indifferent, and there's no growth attached to that. And also, you're not leveraging the opportunity in front of you to show up as the person you're becoming every single day. You're becoming a higher version of yourself in every moment that you act like that. Or you're regressing. Like I said in my first video about the elastic band, and the further you pull it and the more frustration and tension and resistance that there is, if you let go, it's going to launch you into a quantum leap. But see, if you let go from the other direction, you're gonna fly backwards. So you want to create positive friction in your life, not negative friction. Because if you shoot back to your old ways and to the old self and to the old concepts that you used to hold, it's gonna take you so much longer, and you don't know how much time you have in this life. You don't. So why waste any of it? Now, you're going to make mistakes. There are going to be times in life where you do find yourself reacting instead of responding. And you know what? That's okay. Own it. Because having integrity means that you're honest with yourself, even when no one else is watching. Review it with yourself and go, do you know what? I did react there, and I'm going to make an active decision to not do that next time I'm in a position to react. Be kind to yourself, but also don't take other people's problems on. They are not your problems, okay? See, in life when you're dealing with conflict resolution, a huge hurdle that you're going to come up against is wanting to do right by everybody. You need to do what's right by you. You can't do what's right by everybody, because then you're being a people pleaser. And how can you improve yourself if you're too worried about the other people's opinions around you? You need to take personal accountability for your actions. So do other people. okay? Look at your priorities. You look at who you are, and then you look at the story that you want to tell in the future about how this went down, and then you make the best move forward. Other people are going to have a problem with you. That's not your problem. That's their problem. It is not your responsibility to manage other people's emotions. And yes, you might want to be sensitive. I know in that recent example that I had, I wanted to be so sensitive to all parties. But see, honesty, that requires tough conversations. Successful people will do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. You have to stand by your values, okay? Loyalty is so important, and you want to remember who your real people are, okay? In the name of all that's good, you may say, I don't want to ever say a bad word about anybody. Then don't. Just be honest and say it from a place of mercy for that person, because you have fucked up in your life as well, okay? That is such a character building strength that will keep you in a good place, okay? Your ego empathy balance needs to be in check the whole way throughout your life. You can be the most confident person in the world because you have so much integrity. Because to be self-aware means that you've also recognized your own shortcomings. Self-improvement means that you have improved upon problematic parts of your character, problematic environments, problematic situations. You have overcome things. Never let yourself think that that makes you better than anybody. I have seen people that I really, really care about fall under that bracket. Like, the more awareness that you have makes you a better person, but you do not want to become this person and thinks that they can do no wrong because they're so self-aware. Truly self-aware people know that they still will make mistakes because they're still growing. That's really important. That's a really important thing. If you want to be a well-rounded human being, and if you want to be successful at the highest level, if you want to max out your capacity for your potential, you need to remember that daily. It doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. It doesn't matter how many friends you have. It doesn't matter how much money your friends have. It doesn't matter how many trips you've gone on. It doesn't matter how many assets you have. It matters who you are. It matters the values that you hold, okay? It matters how at ease is your mind as you go to sleep at night. How enthusiastic are you about getting to live your day? How giving are you when it comes to sharing experiences? Those are the kinds of things that fine-tune and polish you as a person. It polishes your character off, and it allows you to be open for good humor, great charisma. You know, you want to be a person that makes other people feel alive. Those are the legends in the world. Now, I know that there's legends in the world like Alexander the Great. He was a conqueror. You know, how much war can make you famous? To still live on past your death date. These are the kind of things, if you want to create a positive impact in your own life, for your own family, for your own future family, and for the generations to come, then you want to pursue that feeling of being larger than life for others. You want to make others feel alive. You don't want to make other people feel dead inside. And that is, someone with an ego will do that, but you need to be self-aware enough to realize that if you're susceptible to it, then you're insecure. And if you're insecure and somebody else makes you feel small, you are the person that is allowing yourself to feel small. So you need to go work on your inner trust. You need to go build your confidence with yourself. You need to go execute discipline. You need to do these things in your life. You need to get hobbies, get fit. What the hell? Get fit. You're going to develop so much rapport with yourself as a human being if you have a strong body and a strong mind. And the stronger the body, the stronger the mind. I promise you that. One last thing that I will say before this video. When you're dealing with hard conversations, let people think poorly of you. When you do what's right by you, Like I said, a lot of people are going to have a problem with that. It's actually not your problem though. It's their problem. In the integrity of my own soul, I feared no opposition to it. People are going to run their mouth about you behind your back. They might do it for the rest of their life. They might do it until you're such a huge roaring public success that they then either try to crawl back to you, or they then, slander you to everybody they can and go, oh, she didn't be that success, she didn't do this, she's actually X, Y, Z in real life. You're gonna have people in your life that try and tear you down. That's just natural opposition. It's not your responsibility to take care of how other people feel about you. Now, if you have actually gone and fucked somebody over, you need to go apologize for that. You need to go, you need to own up. You need to take personal accountability, so important. But see if you've done, in the scenario where you have done the right thing by you and you've done it neutrally and you've responded, you haven't reacted, you have not lashed out, you have just prioritized what is important and true to you and you've executed it. If people have a problem with you for that, that's their problem. Those are the type of people that are probably going to come and attack you for a bit, but you need to cut them off, okay? When you've done the right thing by you and someone then comes on the attack, if they're coming out of a place of defensiveness and, lacking personal accountability, you know that that's a person that you can just fucking delete their number, block them. It's actually not a person that's going to help you go any further in life, because you've already done what was right by you. You've responded in a civil manner. And if they don't see eye to eye with that person's no longer your problem. Okay? And you might mourn losing that person. That's okay. Just don't linger on it longer than you need to, because everything in life is here for a reason, only a season, or it is a lesson. There was a really important thing that I was going to say to end this. Yes. Whenever I used to work in Kim's office, she had this triangular, it looked like a wooden Toblerone that had 3 different things on it that she got from her mentor, Bob Proctor. And it was actually pretty cool. That office had a lot of things that Bob Proctor gave her out of his office in Canada. I like things like that because I'm a very sentimental person. But this block, one of the things, it had engravings on the 3 sides. And one of them said, harvest the good, forgive the rest. That is such an important reminder to hold in your life at every moment, because you are going to face opposition. You are going to have hard conversations. You are going to be in situations where unsuccessful people will retreat or attack. But you have, as a self-aware, successful individual, you have the opportunity to respond. In those circumstances in your life, harvest the good and forgive the rest. I look at friendships and relationships that I've lost throughout the years, and I can't bear a grudge to save my life. And I used to be the person fueled by righteous anger. And now I physically cannot hold a grudge, because I know that I am not perfect. So how could somebody else be? How could I ever expect another person to be perfect if I'm not perfect? And none of us are. It's the pursuit and the intention of what you're doing that matters, okay? So harvest the good, see the best in people, and forgive the rest. But forgiveness does not mean acceptance, okay? I can forgive people that are no longer in my life. That does not mean I have to invite them back into my home. No, it does not. You can forgive people and be at peace with people and be at peace with conflict resolution without carrying this heavy burden. It makes me think of Atlas Shrugged. Imagine carrying the weight of the world, of everybody else's mistakes on top of your own mistakes. I don't know how you'd go to bed at night. I don't know how you'd lead a happy life doing that, because there's so much energy there that's negative, that's pulling you down. You're building negative momentum by doing that. Harvest what was good, forgive the rest, move on, continue to stay true to yourself, and know that no matter what happens, It's how you respond that matters. It's how you respond to things in life that defines you. It's how you respond to things in life that will make you who you're becoming. And people in your future will thank you for that because it makes you a role model. And I know that everybody watching this is like in their 20s or in their teens, so you might not be thinking that far ahead, but I promise you that's going to be relevant because it's going to give you more life experience at being honest with yourself, holding that integrity. There is no protection in this life. There is no security and safety and just peace like having integrity in your own soul, okay? As you age, your looks are gonna fade, but your character can only become more pure, more gold, more rich in humor, laughter, sarcasm, lightheartedness, profound wisdom, developed experiences, everything like that, okay? So prioritize what's important, and what's important are your core values. It's who you are. It's how you act. It's how you feel about things. It's how you think about things. And that's another thing. Integrity, aka being honest even when no one else is watching, being true to yourself. Do not sit after conflict resolution and entertain thoughts of slander, entertain emotions of rage. Notice them if they're there. Observe yourself if you feel them, but do not hold on to them. Let them pass to and through you. Let it go. Correct your own thinking. Be your own parent. So many of us, I know I felt like I had to be my own parent for a long time. I definitely wasn't. I was definitely shaped and molded by the adults that I picked to be around. That's the thing as well. People think that they're stuck with who they're around. They're not. That's actually always really confused me. You always have the ability to walk out of the room, no matter who's in it. You're always able to walk out. Unless you're physically chained to the chair, you can leave the room. You can walk into other rooms, introduce yourself to new people. I've done that my entire life. I've said, okay, I don't want to be in this room anymore. I'm going to go find a new room. I've done that my entire life. My uncles even said to me that I was doing that as a kid, and the other cousins would follow me because I seemed to know what I was doing. Be true to yourself. Get in front of people that you want to be around and be the type of person you want to be around. That comes down to integrity, okay? So successful people will do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. It is the common thread of success between everyone in any industry ever. Do what unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. Embrace life. Embrace living. Embrace the hardships. Do it because it is hard. If it is hard in that moment, it is going to pay off in such a big way in the long run. And if you do find yourself taking the easy route out and you just sit back and you're passive and you let people say whatever they want to say and you don't stand up for what you believe is right, I'll probably never meet you. So it's nothing to me. It's entirely your choice. But again, I don't think you'll thank yourself for that. So do something that you will thank yourself for. It really is that easy.